I've been doing some stuff. Sorry, I forgot to hit the start recording button on the video side of it.
That's okay.
That's all right. So if you're watching on video on YouTube, this is Kori Wilkerson, everybody.
Hello.
Right to the camera. It sucks being like your own like producer. I always forget one little thing, and that this one happened to be a big one. But no one watches my YouTube yet, so it's all about the radio right
That's
now.
okay. We'll get there.
Yeah. So so I go to the movies Monday. It was a 1:40. I walk in, and this is about a quick synopsis of movies now. So you go to the mall, which I hate. But the thing about the mall with the movies is you can just go upstairs, drive all the way up.
Yes.
You don't have to walk through the mall.
Direct access. Yep.
Yep. And I get up there, and I am, there's like 4 people in line for the kiosk. And there's like a lady standing there by herself. So I'm like, I go over there, and she's like $10. Pick your seat.
Yes.
And it's a nice lounger, and I'm like, this is pretty nice, whatever. And the movie is supposed to start at 1:40. Now I get 10 minutes, but the previews didn't even start till 1:50. It was like Coke commercials and your exits, and I think there was another stupid commercial, and then a movie club thing, and then this and that, and then
it's
finally...
It's an investment to go to the movie just to get to the movie.
Yeah. Now, I'm all about previews. Like, a lot of people are like cool with previews, but... There's like 7 of them now.
Yes.
And too many.
We got to cut it down.
I'm like, okay, I know the movie's 2 hours, and I think it said running time 2:10. So whatever. So it finally starts at like literally 2:10. It starts at 2:10. So spoiler alert, we're going to talk a lot about the movie.
Absolutely.
So if you haven't seen it yet and you want to see it without a spoiler, maybe hopefully listen to the show later and kind of follow along with some of our takes from it.
Or spoil it for yourself and then come back and talk to us about
it. See, what's funny is, right? What's funny is I don't really care if somebody spoils a movie for me that I'm going to watch regardless. I mean, there are certain movies like, The Usual Suspects, like I didn't want to know the ending of that. But you can talk about the movie all along the way.
Yeah.
Just don't spoil the ending. And this isn't really that kind of movie. It's documented. It's a true story. Yes. You probably read about it if you're into this kind of stuff and researching how bad this epidemic is.
Right.
So basically it follows a Homeland Security detective.
Yes.
Who's basically in charge of finding pedophiles and child pornography and child sex slave stuff. And his name was Tim Ballard, or still is. He's still with us. And it starts out, I didn't know how to go into this movie because I knew it was going to be sad. I didn't know if it was going to be graphic, which I didn't want.
Yeah, I was a little unsure of that as well. But I'm glad it wasn't because there was enough inference to know that we don't need to see what happens next.
And I didn't think it was going that route, but I didn't know.
I mean...
And it could.
Yeah, it has to, I guess, to get to that point, and... Obviously, getting more into the movie, you see how easily that is done. And that was the basis. If it was these kids and they were so cute and this woman just wanted to suck them into her world for a profit and at no expense to their lives at all.
Right. And there's no twists and turns that you don't really... I thought the ending was harrowing, and we'll obviously get to that.
Yeah.
But what was her name? Tanya, or what was the girl? The talent agent. I believe it was Tanya. I could be wrong.
I can't remember her name.
But
I remember her face.
You're introduced to Rocio, who's the girl,
yes,
and Miguel, who's the boy.
Yes. And
they're brother sister. They're about a year apart, and the father's like a single dad, and looked like he was like a steel or iron worker or something. Yeah,
blue-collar worker for sure.
Just a knock on the door.
Yeah.
And there's this beautiful, stunning lady there.
Yeah.
And must have said she saw her at the market singing.
Yeah, she was singing, and then I think she followed her to her house and sat outside and listened to her sing. And that's where she was like, yes, this is one I can go in there, and then pitch the whole, your daughter is so talented and beautiful, she can make so much money, this and that. And then I didn't realize when they were having that meeting that she wanted the brother as well. So when he dropped them both off, I was like, oh my goodness. Well,
I think the probably was more of an add-in. Like, she was like,
we'll take him too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So the daughter convinces the father to basically let him do that. But he insists on going.
Yeah.
So they all hop on a bus, and they're in where are they? Guatemala or
I believe so. Yeah.
Somewhere like that. And they're taking a city bus, and they get to not an abandoned building, but a building.
I think it was a hotel.
I
think it was a hotel.
Hotel.
Yeah.
And they all walk up, And the father feels relieved because when he opens the door, he sees a bunch of other kids in there.
Yeah, this is where they're
so
supposed
he's
to
like,
be.
This is the talent
safe,
area.
Awesome.
Safe area. And then he tries to walk in, and the lady's like, no, you can't come back, but you have to pick him up at 7 p.m. sharp.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
How do you mean there's no adult supervision in that room other than you?
Right.
There wasn't like a, hey, you know what? This doesn't seem right. Like
someone else I can talk to?
He was like, okay, I guess see you at 7.
And before we move on, like that's the allure of poor people, and it sucks.
Yeah.
It's like, everyone knows pop stars, and there's, 1 of every 10 pop star came from nothing.
Yes.
And that's their hope and dreams. And maybe my kid, she was really talented as a 10-year-old girl. And it's like, oh man.
But to exploit her like that for like such an innocent look to the father, but behind closed doors, this is, so we'll get to the next scene.
Well, this is the creepiest part for me of the whole movie is the photo shoot.
Yeah.
So now they got all the kids in, and they're putting them in these poses. Yeah. They're 10, 9, 8 years old. They're putting lipstick on.
Young.
They're telling them to make, kissy lips.
Yeah. And like open up their very high V-neck shirt a little more. Like, to show what? To show they are 8.
Yeah, right,
they have nothing there. Like, what? It's, it was very cringy for sure.
Right. So, as you could predict, the father comes back to pick him up, and there's nobody there. Nobody in the hotel. There's no one there. It's like abandoned, the whole building. He couldn't get a hold of anybody.
Yeah, there's nobody there. Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah, and he's like, my kids are gone, and now what? And what am I supposed to do?
Yeah, and the police don't really like. These kids vanish so quickly. It's amazing they've ended up finding them.
Oh, it's a miracle. Like that. I mean, obviously it's a movie, but
this actually happened.
It did happen.
So now we fast forward to we meet Tim Ballard.
Yeah.
And he's just on a basic case that he's been doing with another guy. And of all the photos that they took in this room, this creep fucking pedophile puts together an album.
Yes.
Online. And he calls it like the spring
I'm trying to remember. I saw this movie a few months ago.
I'm only 2 days old. I know.
Pieces, and that's okay. We're good.
I'm only 2 days old. It was called like the spring teaser album.
Yeah.
So all these other creeper pedophiles are online, and they're like selecting children.
They were subscribing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was like running the website, and they were purchasing from it.
Right. It's so fucking sick. So
disgusting.
They are literally sitting outside this guy's house. They're just waiting for him to click and start uploading, and then they bust them. And they get back to the Homeland Security, and the other guy's like creeped out. I was like, why do you do this? Why do you do this?
Yeah.
And he's like, I've caught 288 pedophiles. Mm-hmm. And the other guy's like, yeah, how many kids have you saved?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Yes, I do remember that.
And
it's
like, whoa. He's trying.
Wait a minute now. Yeah.
And he even said, he's like, I'm Homeland Security. I can't leave the country.
He can't.
Until
he did.
So, all right, so here we are. So now he's got the guy.
Yep.
And he brings him in, and he pretends to him that he's a pedophile too.
Yes.
And the dude falls for it.
He does.
Yeah.
Well, he had to make a couple weird moves out of his character, which I think you can see. I think he portrays a good part of this, that you could tell they was obviously uncomfortable with what he was doing because he has kids.
Right.
It's like
a lot of kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he had 6 in the movie.
Yeah.
And then when they showed the final picture of actual Tim, they had another baby.
That was that was a cheaper by the dozen for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they he basically cons the guy into giving up a name. Mm-hmm. And they get the name. They know this dude is like traveling over the Mexican border.
Yeah.
And they stop him. And Miguel, Rocio's brother, is in the car.
Yeah.
And he's frightened, and he just looks terrified, and they create a bond, the two of them, which I thought was really cool.
Absolutely.
And there was a good trust factor there. And he gets reunited with the father, but now the father's like, where's my daughter?
Yes.
And this is where I think the movie really escalates.
For sure. This was just getting started into what this whole thing was really going to turn out to be.
Right. Because I had a lot of things in my head going on, like, all right, this is just going to be a basic internet sleuth finding people kind of thing, or I didn't know which, because I didn't really want to know the story.
Yeah,
like I didn't really know about it before this movie came out. So I was intrigued. I was like, it had me hooked. So I'm like, all right, which direction is this going to go? So here we are now. He goes back to Homeland Security, his boss, and he's like, I need to go and find this girl.
Yeah. Because
the father's like, thanks for the son, but how do I get my daughter back too? Mm-hmm. Which I thought was a little maybe, not grateful enough, but I get it. Like
they went missing together. So right, I think his mind, he's like, well, why is he here and not my daughter? Like,
and they separate these kids all the fucking time.
Of course, yeah.
So he basically convinces his boss to get like a $10,000 budget, fly down to like Bogota, Colombia, I think. And
yes. I think it was Cartagena. Actually.
Cartagena, yes, yeah. And he get introduced to this guy called Vampiro.
That was the
big husky guy.
Yes, I loved him.
So yeah, he was my favorite character.
Absolutely, he made such a cool twist to the whole thing because he was a criminal essentially.
So he was
retired criminal.
He was a retired criminal. He was in the mafia.
Yeah.
And now all he does is he buys children to strictly rescue them.
Poses as a pedophile.
He poses as a pedophile,
gets
the kids, and puts them in a safe house.
Yeah.
And so incredible. These two guys, it's incredible. So these two guys link up, and it's like awesome.
Dynamic duo right here, like Batman and Robin, but.
So he's down there, and now he's getting heat from home.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, he never got any heat from his wife. She was so supportive. Like, I almost feel like that was a little made up. Like, not once.
Yes and no, maybe.
Not once she was like, babe, come on. We have 6 fucking kids at home. You're trying to find a needle in a haystack. Could you come home for a little bit? But no, she's like, go find her.
Well, just devil's advocate. Maybe she knew that he wouldn't have forgiven himself or been able to continue on with his life in the way that they carry their household if he hadn't at least tried or at least exhausted all efforts to get these kids back because they had those kids at home,
It sounds great in theory.
It does. It does. I just had to put it out there.
I just don't buy it. That's fine. I know too many women. I know.
Well, I am one. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, so she is very supportive at home.
Yes.
She says, go do this. So the only way he can do caveat, or not a caveat, but they have a guy they've used before.
Yes.
Pablo, who was a billionaire.
Yeah.
And he loves this kind of shit. Mm-hmm. And he quits his job.
Yes.
Like 9 months before his pension is ready to go. Just gives up everything except his family to go find this girl.
Yeah.
And he has a hard time convincing Pablo to fund this.
Yes.
So he comes up with this grand idea of a hotel.
Yes, they're going to make
resort
their own
on an island.
Yeah.
A pedophile island, if you will.
Yep.
An Epstein Island,
if you will.
And they fake the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
And they go super fucking undercover.
Uh-huh.
They get into the right hands of the right people. Mm-hmm. That girl comes back.
Yeah.
The girl that recruited Rocio and all the other children is part of this deal. And they all think they're going to be getting $100,000 apiece just to start.
Yes.
They need to bring 50 kids to the island to show, and so he's hoping that obviously she's on the 50 kids list.
Yeah.
And it was wild. They set this whole thing up, and they fucking hook, line, and sinker these dudes.
They did. They had SWAT and, Colombia's version of police and military on standby, ready to go. They swarmed that island as quick as they gave that.
They were all partying, having a good time, waiting for that last boat to come in.
They put up a good show, I'll tell you that. It looked like they were really all into these kids. Right. And then there was that one scene where the guy was like, oh, no, this one. And he was like, no,
you're not touching him.
No, but that's not what we're doing. And he's like, well, what do you mean?
Yeah.
We're here to do this. What do you mean I can't touch her? No, you can't touch this one.
Right.
And he was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. And I love what he did with that guy, though.
Absolutely, yeah.
So basically, when the cops came, he told the SWAT to arrest us all, even us,
yes.
the cops.
Yeah, you just see it
there. And leave that one guy and just pull him off to the side and put your arm around and walk down the beach with him. And he made everyone believe that guy set them all up.
Yes.
So the people, the pedophiles, or the ones running this whole joint, thought that they were set up by their buddy, but in all actuality, it was by Tim and his crew. So, unfortunately, she was not one of the children
she wasn't.
That he was looking for. But greatly they rescued 50 kids
Absolutely,
as well.
yeah.
So that was great. So now you're part in the movie where he's dejected. He's like, all right, I don't know what to do. How do we go about finding this girl? Should I give up? You know, what they did was great, but he just still has this desire to find this girl.
He wasn't going to be fully satisfied with anything if he didn't find her.
So he makes, I think they get a lead.
Yes.
He shows the picture to one of the people that were arrested.
Yes, and they pointed him.
And they said it was the Scorpion took him.
Yeah.
So there's this guy that lives in this remote fucking jungle.
The way they portrayed what
Right.
these people were living in was heartbreaking.
Right.
Like, there's anacondas floating next to you in the river. Like, it was pretty.
And it's basically
crazy. And dangerous.
It's basically
also.
like 10 guerrilla warriors.
They're rebels. They're country rebels.
With like 40 slaves.
Yeah.
And just living in their own little area. They're well armed.
Absolutely.
But
rampant with disease, hardly any food, just...
So disease, glad you brought that up, is how they get in.
Yes, they did.
They pretended to be UN doctors and were claiming that vaccines. There was a vaccine for a Ebola-type virus going around or whatever it was. And they only allowed Tim Ballard to go in. They wouldn't let Vampiro go in.
They said, only one of you. Yeah. You stay here.
So he goes in by himself, and the first day he finds her. He sees her like...
He does. He was walking through because he was talking to the Scorpion and was like, I need to go in and check everybody. So in his mind, he's going to go walk around and look at every single person in this area. And he came across her stomping on what looked like some kind of fruit or whatever they were making.
Yeah, it sounds like she's making wine, but whatever she was doing.
Yeah.
And he calls out her name a couple times. She finally turns.
Yeah, he taps her on the back and he's like,
holy fuck.
I found you. Oh my God,
that's just
you're
half the
here.
battle. He's found her. Yeah. But he's on his own. He has no weapons.
Yeah.
And...
She's also the Scorpion's personal purchase
the head of this
that
tribe.
sleeps with him. Right. So how do you extract her from that situation?
Right, he bought her. And she's in, so he luckily finds them all drinking around at the campfire, singing, playing guitar, and drunk.
Yes.
So he sneaks in. All right, so if you want to stop listening now, this is pretty much the end of the movie. But he sneaks in, and she's in bed, and she screams.
Yes.
Because she doesn't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And he's like trying to get her from screaming.
Yeah,
and
he's trying to...
Of course, Scorpion hears her scream, so Scorpion comes up, and he hides under the bed, and he just lays her down on the bed, and he starts like taking his pants off, and it's like, oh God, it just makes you realize like this is what this girl's like been going through like every night that he's been trying to find her.
Yeah,
and
tears were shed.
Even right, yeah, like even. I mean, she's broken.
Oh, absolutely.
Like all these kids are broken.
It's sad. It was really sad. Like they lived their life with so much hope, and then this is what the end result was. Like this is what they were going to do the rest of their days on this earth. Like I can't even imagine going through something like that. Like wholeheartedly, I have no idea how you.
They do it. I mean, they'll turn. We'll get to some stats in a second.
Yeah.
And granted, the stats are from the movie. I didn't do my own research, but I'm sure they're pretty accurate. Mm-hmm. So here's the heroin part of the movie. Like he basically kills Scorpion. Mm-hmm. I liked when like she looked up and he's just like, close your eyes, and he just fucking kills him. Yeah. There's a little bit of struggle, but he kills him.
Yeah.
And he sneaks her out. They get to the boat, but right when they get to the boat, the radio goes off. The Scorpion's dead, and he's got to go up this little, Amazon River fucking inlet. You know, it's not Amazon. You know what I mean? Like this little waterway to get out of there to get back to his buddies, and they are just firing. It was crazy. I was on the edge of my seat. I'm like, I know how. It's one of those great cinematic feats where you know what's going to happen, but you're still like, oh maybe, shit.
Yes.
I mean, maybe Vampiro gets fucking shot in the shoulder and dies. You don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But they all get out of there. Mm-hmm. It was crazy, and I was like, man. And then gets her back to safety, gets her to the hospital and checked out, and back to Dad.
Yeah.
And so Dad has the full family, and of course, movies are usually full circle. Starts the scene with them and it ends the scene with them there. Yes. And then it does the little biography kind of, Tim Ballard and how he went to Congress and passed some laws. And I guess they actually, all those people that they arrested on that fake island, they end up using them for more leads and arrested
I hope they interrogated the hell out of them.
Yeah. So after he found her, he went back and continued
So we're not
his
done
mission.
yet. Yeah. This can't be the only two kids I save.
So that's pretty much the movie in a nutshell.
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked justice to it, but it really was good. It was moving. I know there's so much of this in the world, and this is just one little minute faction of it, of how it happens.
Yeah.
It can happen online. They can groom kids right online. They can groom kids to go meet you somewhere. Chat rooms is where they find you. I thought it was crazy, actually, the first scene of the movie, like when they're running the credits in the beginning, showing all those like CCV or CTV things, closed circuit CCTV, closed circuit TVs, and just like dudes like riding on a moped and just picking up a 2-year-old baby out of the back of a girl and just speeding off.
I forgot about that part. Yeah.
Like all these, like those are real. Like all these crazy scenes of these people just snatching kids.
Yeah.
Right off the street.
Yeah, left and right.
Yeah.
Like the statistics they showed at the end too were insane. That, I mean, number one, this is not $1 billion business worldwide. I think it said the U.S. was like the leading abduction site, whether these kids get sourced out elsewhere, but it's more dangerous to be a child in the U.S. than almost anywhere else. And
like I looked back at the movie, you've seen Taken?
Yes.
So, you know, obviously that was a little older. It wasn't like, they were young girls, but they weren't children.
Yes.
You know, that obviously was a fictitious movie, but at the same time, that's kind of how it happens in Russia, and you know, they drug you, and then and they just keep drugging you. Because when you're a certain age, you can fight, and you're not innocent. Where like you don't know if this is even real life. Like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Like, I don't know
what's right and what's wrong.
You don't know. But when you're 17, 18, 19, they have to keep you drugged the whole time.
Yeah,
to
you'll resist.
Right, to be a slave in this industry. And I thought a telling point that he said in one scene was, you know, a drug dealer basically gets a bag of coke and sells it, and that coke is consumed and gone. Yeah. You have to go buy more coke. But with a human, you can turn 10 to 15 tricks a day. Yeah. Every day.
Wait, this is that same
15
scene.
years.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Right.
He also goes into when
this has surpassed the drug trade. The amount of money that is flowing through. Yeah.
Well, no, a scene came to my mind of Vampiro when Tim asked him, well, why are you on the good side of this? Like, how did this make sense for you? And he was like, because I got involved with a girl and I found out what she was doing, the life she was living, and I realized that I was the pain in her eyes. Right. And like why he was like, I'll never do that again.
And he almost killed himself.
Yeah. Because of this girl, and that's what made me think of it, was that this girl was turning tricks every day since she was 9 years old. She said that girl was 14. Imagine doing that for that many, like...
And you can't, what was his line?
Can't even
you can't sell God's children.
Yeah.
That was his line, I believe,
I think so,
Yeah. And it's just... it's heartbreaking to see. It really is. And I think everyone, you know, we'll get into like this little 2-minute fucking... message at the end of the movie that I was not keen of, but
had good thought behind it, but I don't think it panned out well.
No, it was tacky.
Yeah.
But I just don't know. Like, this is just one guy,
one story, even.
And one
this
story.
Is two children.
I mean, there's like over 3 million children in the world that are in sex slave trade.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's happening everywhere.
Oh, the last stat that they showed was that there's never been a time in the history of the world that there's been more slaves, whether they were legal or not, than there is right now. Yeah. And 3 million of them are children.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's fucking insane.
This is what we've evolved to?
Right.
We've come this far to do this?
History repeating itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Greed and crime and power and... But how do you... I mean, it's... I don't know. I mean, I commend these guys for doing this job, you know, and it's got to be heartbreaking to go home, especially when you have a family. Yeah. Every day and just, you know, hug your daughters and sons tighter. You know, and a lot of people, you know, in certain situations probably don't even think about it. You know, like, I don't think my
out
child...
of sight, out of mind. Right. Yeah. Or you never think it'll be your kid.
Right, your kid.
Until it is. Right. And then it's like...
Wait a second, why is no one doing anything for me? Yeah. Oh, they're trying.
Yeah.
They're trying.
The resources and just the availability of it. I mean, and not to mention, too, these people that have been doing this, they've got this thing on lock. They know
Yeah.
what they're doing, you know, like that's why
Especially
a lot
in
of it
these
hasn't
third world
come.
cities.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they control the
What
police
are you gonna
department.
find? Yeah, absolutely. What are you gonna find there?
Like drugs fund it all.
Yeah,
You know.
you can't go over there as an American citizen. They don't want you.
But what sick fuck likes a child? See, that's the other thing about this movie.
That's a whole rabbit hole. But yeah, no,
Like-
it's hard. It's very difficult to digest because of the capacity of what. Number one, they're children. Number two,
Right.
you're not talking about just a pedophile. You're talking about a pedophile that is into like not average human beings his age, like children, like significantly younger
Right.
than somebody, and
Right.
it's just it's so hard to digest, honestly.
You know, you hear the rumors that it goes through Hollywood and a lot of that shit, and we don't need to go down that rabbit hole in this episode, but there's a market for it, which is fucked up.
There is.
And to be
It's
in
a
that
very
market,
profitable
to
one
be
at
in that
that.
market as a consumer, you have to have money,
Yeah.
power, and people that don't want it out.
Yeah.
And for someone like you or me, we don't, like, one, we don't have those thoughts.
No.
But two, we could never pull it off if we did.
Where do you even, just to even step foot into that mindset, who are you calling for that? Hey, you know somebody with a kid that I could buy? How do you even...
Right.
Like, that's just...
It's channels,
That's crazy.
It's knowing, it's nuts. And that's like the whole Epstein Island thing, like...
Absolutely.
You know, I'm actually, this is not to be funny, but like as I'm talking to you, I'm looking up at my baseball cards and I see a Wander Franco autograph. He just got suspended for dating a 14-year-old. So.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
The irony.
He's from the Dominican. Yeah.
14?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway. Sorry. Yeah, so like, there's like this whole, you know, it's like an iceberg. Here's the tip.
That's all you see. There's so
underneath.
much that goes into it, and there's so many people involved that, number one, you wouldn't even think, but number two, like, it's deep. It's not something that is easily dismantled or taken down, which is why it exists the way it does.
Right.
It's very complex, and it's very broad, and it's really sad that it's a thing, but it's the world we live in.
What, you know, so we were talking earlier about, before the show, about like, some celebrities have been trying to expose this.
Yeah.
Amongst the Hollywood ranks, you know, Epstein Island is one thing, and there's a big list, but you know, you see a list of Epstein Island lists on like X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. There's just like a piece
Didn't
of paper
realize
with
that
names
changed
on.
names, by the way.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I went to go and I was like looking for Twitter on my phone, and I was like,
Yeah, it's a big X, black and white X.
oh, this is new. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Anyways.
The likes of Paul Walker,
Yeah.
Chester Bennington. You know, these guys are dead. One in a fiery Porsche crash that blew up on impact. Chester died of suicide. Well, now let me get me on the screen. Suicide. Along with, why is his name escaping me? He's like one of my, Chris Cornell.
Yes.
Along with Chris Cornell. Died on, so Chris Cornell and Chester were like best friends.
Yeah.
And I might get this wrong, but if I get it wrong, it's the opposite. But I believe Chester died first, and then Chris Cornell on Chester's birthday killed himself. So
Or vice versa. Yeah.
it was one of the two.
Yeah.
It was one of the two. But like my fucking conspiracy head's like, well, if they actually killed themselves, they did it to make it look like there's such a strong bond between the two. Oh, I'm gonna do it on his fucking
Wholesome.
birthday.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and you see these fucking movies of like people like force suicides onto people, you know, but it's really a murder, and it's just like, I always look at like Hollywood, you know, life imitating art or vice versa. It's like I watch a lot of movies, and I'm just like, yeah, I can see that happening. You know, like,
Absolutely.
or where do these fucked up people get these fucked up ideas?
It's one of the two. It either happened or
Right.
you imagined it somewhere, somehow.
I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, but that's a whole other facet of this crazy crime syndicate industry that's out there.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like with the trans and communities, like, just to stop going after the kids. Leave the kids alone.
Yeah.
And you fuckers, you know, there would be no industry if there wasn't a market for it. So these fuckers that are crazy and fucking deranged, go seek help.
Sick. Very, like, it's
Do not get your rocks off on an 8-year-old boy or girl.
You don't need to torture and ruin that child's life because there's something wrong with you.
You're the problem.
You are the problem.
Put your fucking gun to your fucking head and fucking shoot yourself. Please. Save the children. Give them a chance. Give them a chance.
Yeah.
Give them a chance. All right, that's Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Go see it.
That was
still in theaters for a little while. I think it comes out on
for now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it comes out in digital stuff soon in the streaming services. But before we get into the next topic, so as the credits roll after the movie, it says like in 3 minutes and 13 seconds, wait for a special message. Okay.
Sure.
You had me at hello.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So
you had me at 30-minute.
Somebody said I'm on my phone for 3 minutes and 13 seconds. And then Jim Caviezel, who played Tim Ballard, comes on and he does his 2-minute spiel about the good part of it is like there's like a pay it forward thing with this movie.
Yeah.
If you want to buy a ticket for someone else that you don't know, it goes into like a...
So the awareness can be spread equally. You have no barriers to not being able to see the movie.
Right.
Yeah, which I thought was really cool.
So if you don't have a lot of money, or if you want to literally go see the movie for free, you go to their website and they'll gift you a ticket to it.
I guess so,
and I don't know exactly how it works, but that's kind of how it works because I just paid $10 for the ticket.
Yep. I just paid the money. Wherever it goes is where it goes.
But that's not what got me. No. It was this whole, and I like Jim Caviezel. He's not really in a lot of movies, big movies anyway, but I remember some of them from 10, 15 years ago that he was in that were pretty good. And I thought he was great in this. Mm-hmm. And he just goes into full actor mode and the story tells it, and if the story doesn't get out, this won't be fixed, and it's up to us. And it just came across as, like you said before, if Tim Ballard had done what he did, I'm like, yo, bravo. That would have rallied me so bad.
Yes.
To donate money, whatever I need to do.
How do we help? Right. Yeah. It didn't hit home the way it should have. The intention was there. I totally believe they had the right idea behind it, but you shouldn't have had him do it. He wasn't the person to portray that message. The guy that did all of this, the hero in this movie,
he may have not wanted any part of it. Who knows? He'd be like, I'm going to stay back.
You know what? Put a little asterisk at the bottom and said, we asked. He said no.
Yeah, right?
Let me know at least you tried.
Right? But yeah, I was oh, I could have missed that.
Yeah.
Or they could have played it during the credits and saved me the extra fucking...
Stone,
who really reads credits? Come on.
No.
You know? That's why I love when you watch a movie on TNT and the movie ends and the credits roll it fucking 17 times the movie. It's like, and they're done. It's like, that's how credits
That's how you roll credits.
Right. The only person looking at the credits are the people that it's credited for.
Yeah.
So Bob doing the grip, I can't wait to see his name on it. I don't give a fuck who he is. Anyway, so there's been some fires in Maui.
Yes, it has.
And it's fucking crazy. They're calling them fire tornadoes. Fire tornadoes.
I heard that.
Basically, what's happened is when the fires first hit, these 80-mile-an-hour Maui fucking off the water winds are coming in and swirling the flames and just engulfing cars and houses and people. And I think the death toll's up to 200 now. 100, half of them are kids because kids couldn't get anywhere. Yeah. It's just so fucking sad.
It is.
But there's a lot of levels to this whole thing, and I want to start with the level you first started when you sat down here. You're talking about the police commissioner. I can't wait to look this up.
So we were texting last night, what we were going to talk about, and I was like, let me do some diving, so we're on the same page. And when I came across some TikTok videos, and it was the police commissioner talking about, what they were doing, on the aftermath, such and such, and I watched a TikTok video, and it said, this is the same guy that was the police commissioner in Las Vegas in 2017, 18?
It's going to be 18. It's going to be 17. It's going to be 6 years.
17, right? Yeah.
It's going to be 6 years this year.
So I had moved to Vegas that June following that.
A little plug. I'm gonna have a person that was on scene. It like literally saw. I'm not
no, but
no, I am on the show
you are.
for the anniversary in
Wow.
October. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah. So just stay tuned for more.
Absolutely,
deep
I'll definitely listen to
into
that.
the Vegas stuff. But no, it's fascinating. Keep going.
So
sorry.
I heard so I was working at the Hooters on the Strip, and
you're a Hooters girl.
I was a Hooters girl in Vegas.
Oh, that's a whole other show.
Knows that. I lived a lot of lives in my young life.
Oh wow.
So I was working at the restaurant, and that was obviously near Mandalay Bay, which were a lot of people, diverted to when they took shelter from this tragedy. But anyways, not to get off topic, but so it was fascinating that the person that's now in charge of this catastrophe was also in charge of that catastrophe. So it was just an eyebrow raiser. Don't know if that means anything by any means, other than he had a job change. But one's in Hawaii and one is in Las Vegas. And you have two catastrophic events. I mean, listen. Sometimes shit happens, but these were very catastrophic things that happened, and it was just, I was like, that's an interesting point to see.
That is, I'm definitely
so
looking
coincidental.
At that more. Let's start with the radical theories.
Yeah.
What I've seen is like a laser beam coming down and shooting a house, blowing it up.
It was, what did they call him? Direct energy weapons
or something?
Yeah,
something like that,
what do you mean?
And, I don't buy those one bit.
No.
There'd be too many witnesses.
That photo
and they're too easy to make up online anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
The technology to make anything look real is almost scary at this point.
Hello, AI.
But this is the one that I like because now the citizens are stepping out and saying stuff. So there was a head of Maui Times. She's like the editor-in-chief or something. And she tried to get to the crime scene. Not the crime scene, sorry. Tried to get to the scene where police had the barricades and stuff, and they wouldn't let her in. And she's like, wait, I'm a journalist. This is my right. Like, I need to report on this. You're just the police. Like, I have credentials to get through here. And they wouldn't let her through. And they said, oh, well, you need to go see this girl. She's over there. And this lady went on, like, this wild goose chase and never found the lady. She had gone home for the day. And she did this whole, like, Twitter video. And she's like, telling her story and like showing her credentials, telling everyone who she is. Like I couldn't even get access.
Yeah.
Like what are they keeping from us?
Yeah.
So then I started deep diving myself, and someone came across the WEF, which is the World Economic Forum, founded by all these billionaires, and a lot of them own land in Maui, and now a lot of the citizens are coming out and saying, they're walking through the destruction. They see their home gone, but that nice, cute little mansion maybe owned by Oprah Winfrey up on the hill is not even touched.
Perfectly intact.
There's literally fire tornadoes flying around.
Fire tornado just missed the mansions. It was only lower economic housing that it wanted to take out.
Right. And there was articles written a couple years prior to that area.
Yeah.
Where the housing market's down because no one wants to sell because they're in fucking Maui and they own property.
It's also sacred land. That part that got destroyed is like one of the, from my dive that I took last night, it's sacred land. Yeah. And these people were like, no, I don't want to leave. I've been here my whole life. My grandparents have been here. Their grandparents have been here. There's a lot of tradition now. I don't blame them for not wanting to let go of their land. That was theirs to begin with.
I agree.
Just because you gentrified that area over there doesn't mean you get to come over here.
Right. So some of the people that have literally mega mansions next to where all this shit happened was Oprah, she's the big target now, but she's a target of a lot of things. So I don't know. She's a target of pedophilia. She's a target of Epstein Island. It wouldn't surprise me, but Jeff Bezos, Lady Gaga, Will Smith, Bill Gates, shocker. And this person, how the hell the fire knew to avoid the part of the island where these celebrities have their multi-million-dollar houses.
Those are huge names, too. You're not talking like little B-listers. Like, these are mega names in the world. Yeah. So they're saying that WEF has an agenda by 2030 to basically own all the rich, the big boys club, to own all that land that basically. So it's going to be interesting to watch. I know it's so soon and maybe too soon, but it's going to be interesting to watch what ends up going there, because now what's happening is all these people are going to get their insurance money, but it won't be enough to rebuild probably on whatever they might have valued their homes at,
Would they want to rebuild? They're probably afraid that it could happen again easily, and they're going to leave. And who's going to swoop in? The big money people. They're going to swoop in, buy up the property, and you're probably going to see, what's it, 2023? Probably by 2030, you're going to see probably huge properties and maybe even a Waikiki-style beachfront where hotels, maybe casinos, and it's going to be so overly priced where you and I can't go, but it's going to be, dare I say it, an Epstein's type island.
It's just...
What do you think? Is that a good theory? Maybe a little far-fetched, but I don't believe the laser started. I believe it was, but I believe something started because they're saying that the telephone pole went down. Like, there's like a lot of witnesses on how it started.
Yeah, there's a lot of theories. There was a lot. I saw a video of where there's a lot of parts that aren't maintenance by the electric company. They've got trees and vines and leaves just growing in between electric. Of course, that's going to start a fire. So why are you not maintaining your property? Number one. Number two, they also said that, there was no warning, no sirens went off, and those sirens are in place for that reason. They know that those kind of storms happen there. There was no warning. There was no hey, you got to evacuate. They just literally let these people suffer the consequences without even giving them a chance. If they want to stay and bunker down, you know what? All applause to you, but you should have been afforded the option to leave if you wanted to. There's children, there's elderly, there's, everybody really, but I don't think that, and I'm not going to say somebody went around with a lighter and started the wildfire.
Right.
No, but there was definitely, I think, decisions made to make sure that some people suffered and some people didn't.
There was
if this was a started fire, to call it a wildfire, I'm not really sure. It doesn't look like any of the wildfires I've ever seen anywhere. So
a movie just popped in my head. I think it was called Romeo Must Die, and it was Jet Li. I hate having young people on. You always
Sorry.
Drew didn't know who Nirvana was.
Okay, well that's unacceptable. All right, you know what? That's just not acceptable.
Anyway, it was a movie about the premise of the movie was there was mafia and they were trying to. Well, it was like a black gang, white collar crime, and then Jet Li's just trying to find his daughter or something. He gets tied up in all this, but what's going on is they're trying to buy up all this land in Oakland to build a Raiders stadium. Mm-hmm. And people are budging. They're like, no, I don't want to sell. It's there's no eminent domain. If they don't want to sell, they don't. And they just start being criminals and blowing up these buildings and, or murdering people and just trying. They need that land. They need that land. Yeah. And it's kind of, what would I say? Art imitates life, or one of the two.
Something like that, yeah.
But here's the kicker. So Biden was basically vacationing last week in Rhode Island with his shriveled up old man body on the beach.
Those poor people.
And an independent journalist, I think it was an independent guy, went up to him and said, hey, what's your thoughts on Maui? You guys going to help him out or whatever? And he literally said no comment.
President of the United States says no comment to an emergency. So
he immediately gets backlash online on X.
As he should.
Right.
That was not good, Mr. President.
And I guess he vowed every citizen is going to get $700.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh. It's like
this is the greatest president in the history of the United States.
According to
I remember Trump gave me $600 for doing nothing, not losing a house.
True. Not having to uproot my entire family and watch my home disintegrate.
So I think $700 per resident that was affected comes out to $2 million. Now, 2 days after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, we sent $100 billion to Ukraine.
I didn't know we had a budget like that.
We don't. We don't have a budget like that. We have a deficit of $3 trillion or whatever the hell it is. I just think it's a slap in the face, and I think
to Americans, absolutely.
Yeah, and
100%.
I think the Great Awakening is happening. I think people are starting to really realize,
I hope so.
What's going on in the world.
It's only getting worse around here.
It's
it really is. Every time you turn around, there's something new that you almost have to convince yourself. No, I'm reading this.
Right.
This actually happened. It's What else is left to... I shouldn't say that. Let's not put that to the universe. I don't want to say what else is left to happen because Lord knows. People are getting creative. Life's creative. I can't keep up.
I saw a meme the other day of memes of the month.
Yeah.
And like January was like that cop that was banging everybody in Ohio or whatever. And then it was the Chinese balloon was like whatever month, and then Bud Light was April. And it was like,
oh yeah,
yeah, you know, like all the way down the
calendar.
Yeah.
What are we gonna scratch off this month?
Oh man. Before we get into our epic Jelly Roll concert, one last thing came across the newsfeed the last couple of days, and I fell hook, line, and sinker right off the rip. I'm so upset with myself for falling for this. So Michael Oher was the main character in the Blind Side movie, and I'm sure everyone's kind of seen it or read it, but for those that haven't, the movie was Blind Side. Sandra Bullock won an Academy Award for her role.
She did.
The Tui family, I think that's how you pronounce it.
Yep.
Basically, in the movie, they took him in. They never actually said they adopted him in the movie.
I believe they did.
No, they didn't.
Oh, they did?
No. Okay. They said that he was part of the family, and it was conservatorship.
They had legal guardianship. That's what it was.
Yes,
they did not adopt him. They were legal guardians.
Correct.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Very correct. Yes, that's what they said. So, anyway, so he comes out the other day, like 3 days ago, and says he's suing the family, basically these people that took him in, for $15 million because he felt that he was duped, was never a member of the family. They only used him for profit off the movie and likenesses and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm reading this thing and I'm like, those motherfuckers. I'm like,
that is not a nice story.
No, like
The Blind Side was a good story.
Right, like how do you take advantage of it? Like that was your goal?
Yeah. And
I'm reading, I'm like, I actually told my girlfriend at the dinner table, I'm like, look at these fucking people.
I read the word conservatorship was thrown around, which would be even worse. So not only did you lie to this kid and deceive him, but now you're basically controlling everything that he's ever worked for and is the reason why you got your claim to fame.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yeah.
It's all a lie. It's all a lie.
What do you mean it's all a lie?
He made it up. So they countered. They right. So I was just reading it like, oh fuck this. Now all these race car people are coming out like, oh, those fucking people taking advantage of a black kid, blah blah blah. Da, 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 da. So just one day later, it comes out that the Tuies are like, whoa, time out. Like we explained to him along the whole time that it was a conservatorship. He had 11 brothers and sisters. They literally met with the family, took him in to help him, right? Now, he's went on to the NFL. Yeah. Played like 8 years for the Ravens and a couple other teams. Mm-hmm. Has been retired for 7. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden just comes out with this?
That's true.
So they're like, wait a second, no. And they almost like have like it's going to go back and forth for a while. Yeah. But again, it's like in today's media and world, whoever fires that first shot is what they go after. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, okay, oh my God, a black kid with a white family took him in. No, it's all fucking bullshit. Da, da, da. Well, hold on a second.
Was it?
So now they're like countersuing him, and they're like just that for money, just for like, yo.
Not slander, yeah. Right. Don't defame our name like
just
that.
Just stop that. And now people are online telling Sandra Bullock she needs to fucking return her Academy Award.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, don't you take that away from Miss Sandra over there. She did a damn good job at Miss Lee.
She has nothing to do with their bullshit that's going on.
She read a script that was given to her. She had no part in that. Don't you take that lady's skills away. I love Sandra Bullock.
God. Oh, you're a big Bullock fan?
I wouldn't say a big one, but I do enjoy her movies. I think she's great.
So that was it's a story I'm following.
Yeah.
I don't know which side to believe, but I'm just mad at myself that I originally graded with, okay, this guy said it, so it must be true. Yeah. And I should know better than that. Yep. And maybe he is correct. But
we shall see.
How do you go that long with like at least not getting it's almost like the Britney Spears thing.
Absolutely.
Get it and Britney Spears was her actual biological parents.
Yeah.
This is just something that took you in and helped you out
but if you do it the whole time,
you made $50 million in your career.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden you want to be like, yeah, no, you didn't do that to me. It's like...
So,
yeah,
I'll be following that.
Yeah.
All right, last story. Not a story, but...
Experience.
So, I've been listening to Jelly Roll since Dead Man Walking came out. So if you don't know Jelly Roll, he's country rock.
Yes.
Country gospel, rock gospel.
Former rapper.
But he doesn't do any of that stuff. I mean, he kind of raps a little bit in his songs.
His early stuff was definitely that, yeah.
But no one knows that shit.
No.
That was when he was grinding.
Yeah.
It always takes one song it always takes, 1 or 2 songs to get you going.
Yeah.
So, he crossed over. He came across my Octane, which is like hard rock on my Sirius satellite. I'm like, wow, that song's pretty catchy.
What song did you get?
That was Dead Man Walking.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and then Save Me came through a couple months later, and then his documentary came out on Hulu.
Yeah.
So I watched that. I'm like, I knew nothing about Bunny. I knew who she was, but I didn't know they were together.
Yeah.
And so whatever. So I'm like, this guy's pretty cool. And then I saw that he's playing in Bridgeport. So I'm like, I gotta go see him. So we ended up getting tickets, and I was pretty pumped for the show. So it was me, my girlfriend, my buddy John, and his brother and sister-in-law, and we walk up the plank at the train station. To my surprise, is none other than, hold on, let me get you on camera. None other than this girl. Now picture her in 1980, same age, 1980, going to Foxborough to see Guns N' Roses in 1988. That's what she was dressed like. With Taylor.
We coordinate outfits, okay.
Like she was going to see Motley Crue, at, let's say, Giant Stadium. And they were at the same train station waiting to go. And not going to lie, like when I saw you and you like stood up and I gave you a hug, I looked back at my girlfriend, she's like, she doesn't really know you. And I'm like, that's Kori from work, relax.
It's just me, don't worry, I'm harmless.
And I'm like, I will say this, you two are the hottest girls there.
Thank you.
And I don't know if this is a compliment or not, but like, I don't think it was too hard to be the 2 hottest girls there.
Well, so here's the thing.
Outside my girlfriend, obviously.
Of course. So Taylor actually, she wasn't a big fan either, but I have been. So I saw his song Save Me before that, and Need a Favor, and then Untitled Chapter came out, and I was just like, wow, this is a phenomenal album. Like every song on there is just it's just such a nice transition for him for what he's been pursuing as music, and for him to just thrive, and for everybody to like just be fully immersed in what he's about and his struggle and his, I would just say he just seems like a very real individual. Like this guy's been through real life shit, and he didn't, he's not here to, obviously he's here for money. I mean, he's making a lot of it.
But he struggled for a long time.
He
was in jail, right?
He spent, according to his documentary, he spent most of his young adult life in jail. I would say 14 to 21, if I'm correct. He was incarcerated as a juvie, just in and out, nowhere to go, and then had his daughter and really just tried to turn it around, and obviously had to grind through it to get to where he is now. But I think he really deserves it. I'm a big fan of his. I think I cried like 4 times during his concert.
So here's my highs and lows from the show.
It was a little churchy. We were in a sermon for sure, a little bit, but that's all right.
First thing was the crowd. It took me about 3 minutes to realize what was going on. It was because I've been to a million rock concerts.
Yes.
It was the rock crowd.
Yeah.
Morphed. I've been to a couple country concerts, which is usually I only go because of the hot chicks, right? This is years ago before I was dating Nicole.
Not the only one.
And and I'm like, okay. And then I'm not gonna lie, the girls at the rock show are not always the girls at the country show. Okay.
I would say the outfit's a little bit different, yeah.
Yeah. The body type. Okay. I don't want to offend anybody. But they seem to two worlds collide.
Yes.
At this show.
And
so it was like it was like a really good looking chubby rock chick. I don't know how to put it. Like it was a mix of people. And I'll add, I'm 49, so I can't joke about age, but like the age level was a little up too. Yeah, I think, you know what I mean.
But there was also children there. There was like 4-year-olds. Like I was in the pit area, right, and there was like a 9-year-old.
Right, so you're in the pit.
Yeah,
I'm not far behind. I'm behind the pit. I was like dead center stage almost.
Okay.
Point number 2. The gospel side of it, right?
Yeah.
I had a guy next to me standing on his chair.
Standing on the chair.
Standing on the chair when he first came out with like a sign that said, you know, you saved me. Crying. Like just bawling.
Yeah.
And it first hit me, I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then I saw another dude doing it. And I saw people in the pit. And I saw people over here. And then now my cynical side comes out. And I'm just like, okay, all right. All these dudes are going home and fucking doing fucking heroin. Like, this is like...
Oh, maybe
like,
not, though.
Well, okay, I always say if you save one, then you've done your job. So I'm sure he's saved one. But...
Save them one night, not
right,
every
yeah. I'm just like, really? Like, I don't know. I've never, like, I felt like I was at like a Joel Osteen show or something. You know, like he pulled out a guitar and started rocking.
Yeah.
That's nothing against the show.
Yeah.
Just the crowd part of it.
Yes.
So then Jelly comes on, and I thought he was phenomenal.
Oh, I did too,
Like,
yeah.
I think this, like, not to make fun of his weight, but he's really, really big.
He's a big man.
And
he
to
is.
be
He
on
is a jelly
stage,
roll.
and it was fucking hot out.
Yeah.
And to be on stage and pump out, you know, he pumped out like 15, 20 songs.
Played an hour and a half.
Yeah, he did. He did a great job. He really
think he did too. I'm so happy I went. And he sounds great live, you know.
Yeah.
He doesn't sound far off from
Yeah.
you know. I liked his little Colt 45 bit, you know. He broke it up with, you know, some songs that everybody would know if you're new to being a Jelly Roll fan, you know. I thought that was cool. Good crowd engagement.
That was a good little time.
Then he did like a little melody before that too, with some like a mix of like 4 songs. I can't remember what they were. But no, yeah, I thought it was a great concert.
I
enjoyed it.
I would go see him again.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure. I thought, so who was it? Jennings? Who was
Struggle Jennings.
So is that Waylon Jennings' kid? Who's a country star, I'm assuming?
I have no idea.
And then but I thought the girl that, I didn't see her, but the girl that started, the opener, I thought her voice was amazing.
She came out with Struggle. They had a song
yeah.
together. Oh yeah, I just looked that song up the other night. I was like, this girl got a set.
Yeah, she could sing. I was in the back drinking at 2 Roads, but like when she came back out, I'm like, wow, this girl's pretty good.
Yeah.
But he was another one. He had that whole like, you ever been in prison and like half the crowd's like, Rah! It's like, Jesus Christ, okay.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely people that did some bids in that crowd for sure. You know, I can't.
How many kids you got? I got 4. Yeah, I got 10. And it's like, okay. And it's like, and how many people here have gotten out of prison and have taken care of the kids and being a man? They're all like, yeah. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I gotta go. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Where's Jelly Roll?
Get Jelly out here.
I came here for Jelly.
I don't know. I just, I think I'm just getting more and more cynical in my older age, and like, just like, okay, really, like, I've had music that's moved me to the point where like 5 minutes after the song, I'm like, okay, on to my next thing, like. And everyone's different. Like, if it really actually helps somebody, that's great.
Yeah.
But, like, one of my favorite bands is Shinedown. Mm-hmm. And they try to preach this shit, too. And I read them online. I read their fan comments. They're like, oh, my God, your song, this and that, saved my life. And I got out of the doldrums of the deepest depression and drugs and shit. And I'm like, you're just looking for attention on your keyboard. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Is that cynical, or is it... Do you think this shit happens?
I mean, I kind of feel the same way, too. So, I'm 29, so I have no excuse. However, I will say, like, for me personally, like, music can be therapeutic, but it's not the reason that it drags you out of the depths of your demons. I mean, you can definitely listen to it while you're doing all that soul searching and that work and, you know, trying to be better for yourself.
But you know, they heard the music high. Like, they first heard it high. They listened to it high. Yeah. So at one point, they're like, so high, they're like, oh, that one lyric, that's what's going to change me.
That's the way I take it out. Yeah, that's a little, I mean.
Their moment of clarity.
I think that's a little too tangible to say that Save Me by Jelly Roll is the reason why you beat addiction and life support. But if it is, hey, you know what? I'm glad you're here.
If it did it for one person, then, you know, whatever. It's cool. I mean, the music's great. And
I will say it was, like, I was emotional during, I mean, his song.
You said you cried 4 times. So, like.
That was not a joke. I mean, I did cry. It was also the anniversary.
What'd you quit doing after that?
What?
Did you quit, like, drugs? You quit alcohol?
No. He didn't.
Did you go to church on Sunday?
No, he just. I just really enjoyed his music and his message. No, but the reason I was emotional at his concert was because it was the year anniversary of a very good friend of mine that died.
Oh, okay.
So I was at that concert, and then just, I guess, being in the experience was just, it was emotional. You know?
Yeah. All right.
Sometimes I like to shed a little tear. It's all right. But no.
What do you think about the venue? All.
I think it's a decent venue.
I would suggest this. Do what we did. Take the train in. So we
had
a ride home.
Convenient.
How was the train home? Was it just as convenient?
Yeah.
It wasn't crowded. It wasn't.
I didn't even get my ticket. Didn't even get checked. I still have 2 tickets, 2 in there. I'm like, I could have just.
Well, John bought our tickets. I'm like, we're not even gonna need them.
Yeah.
He's like, really? I'm like,
they check them in like Westport. You can get pretty much anywhere in the local
area. You get from pretty much
checked.
New Haven to Bridgeport without being checked.
Yeah. Which I thought was cool because if I had to drive in that after drinking and just being on my feet for that amount of time, I probably wouldn't have been too happy.
But like,
so that was.
I walk in and I get me and Nicole 2 20-ounce hard teas. They weren't even fucking the good ones. They were these ones. I don't want to call them out because they've been on the show before, but they were garbage. With a 20% tip, $46.80 for 2 fucking beers.
Yeah.
Like, okay, come on.
Yeah, that's insane.
And then I found someone that worked there that I knew a long time ago, and I will never get her in trouble, or him or her, somebody. And I got hooked up a little bit, which was nice. But,
all right, that works.
But again, like that's there should
be
a law that like you cannot mark up something past a certain extent.
Yeah.
Like that can probably cost at most $4.
Yeah.
That's high.
Yeah.
And you're selling it for $20, so you're marking it up 500%. Like that's a little ridiculous.
Insane. As if we didn't pay money to come to this venue for the tickets, the parking, train ticket if you suck on that one.
Like, we're in the industry.
Yeah.
I get it. I've been to plenty of Red Sox games, Yankee games, Patriots games. Shit's expensive, but I felt that was overly, especially like Bridgeport, Connecticut.
I could get away with like $15 maybe, like still on the higher end, but like $15-$16. Okay, for like a hard tea, yeah, okay, right. But like, come on,
right?
$22.
I went right to the bar, and then after I finished that, I couldn't even barely finish it, and I got a beer or got a vodka seltzer in a can, and then a shot of Jack Fire, and I did the shot, and it was Jack Honey.
Oh,
I was
it's an unpleasant surprise.
And then he was like, oh, I'm sorry. They poured me the Jack Fire back. Yeah. I'm like, wait, I just ripped a 20-ounce, 2 shots.
You're right where you
and I'm like, all right, let's go. And now I got to watch gospel for fucking Spencer Jennings. What's his name?
Struggle Jennings.
Spencer.
We'll get it. Close enough.
All right, before we go, why don't you tell the audience what you're up to right now? Why you were late today.
So I just started my career as a correctional nurse. So I am in the academy. I will be there for another 2.5 weeks. And then I will go to my facility, which is Cheshire Prison.
Yeah, no, okay.
As a nurse.
So you're already a nurse?
Yes, I've been a nurse since 2022.
Okay, so now you're transitioning to be at a correctional facility.
Yes, so
this isn't like a long process. This is just
for me. It's been a long process.
No. The nursing part you've done though.
Yeah.
But now this part of it is what, 4 weeks?
Yeah. Well, even just getting hired, I applied for this back in March.
Okay.
And I just started. August 11th was my start date. So it's been a long road, but I mean,
is this a female prison or a male?
I am at a male prison.
Oh Jesus.
I know.
Oh good Lord, have mercy.
No.
We might need some jelly roll in our life coming up soon.
So the good thing is, what I've heard is that most of the medical staff are female, which is cool. So I've got some camaraderie. I'm well aware it's a prison. But the academy.
So what are you learning right now? Like the protocols?
We are learning literally. So right now it's basically employee conduct, which is huge. Right. All the directives. We did.
You can't bang the fucking prisoners.
Yeah, that's jail time. I can actually serve I can serve a 10-year sentence if I fucking
admit.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah, I can get big trouble.
My girlfriend watches Love After Lockup all the time. She's a nurse. She'd probably want your job, but she'd be serving 10.
So, I have to believe my future husband is not behind bars. Hopefully he's smart enough not to get caught, but...
But maybe he was at the Jelly Roll concert.
No.
Your future husband?
No, he wasn't at the Jelly Roll
concert. You looked around and you're like, fucking Christ.
What
a motley crew this is here.
Hey, I'm here with you.
There's luxury suites, though. You don't know who's up there.
I don't. You're right, I don't. I was in the pit. I wanted to, be right in
feel
it.
Feel the sweat off that 450-pound body.
I didn't even move. Actually, there was... So I was standing next to a woman and her daughter. Her daughter was 16. She was a nurse as well. So the four of us just kind of, we're chatting while Cheryl Jennings is playing, waiting for Jelly Roll. And there's this girl behind me, and this girl dropped. When I tell you, like, her man caught her, but she went down.
Oh, really?
So her and I, the nurse, we turn around and we're like, oh, shit. No, like, she's had a couple drinks. I've had a couple drinks. And we both looked at each other and we were like, okay, we got to play nurse right now. Like, it was instant, too. There's no delay. So we turn around. I'm checking her pulse. She's, like, basically sternum rubbing the girl to, like, get her back. And then all of a sudden, like, we're calling for help. And all of a sudden, she just pops right up. like she just woke up from a nap. And I'm looking at her. I'm like, hey, like, you know where you are? She's like, yeah. I'm like, what happened? She's like, I drank a beer and then I smoked some weed. And I was like, oh, this was your first crossfade experience. I was like, oh, you need some water and maybe like a little air is what you need. And I was like, did you take anything? And she's like, no, don't do anything. I'm like, all right, well, you dropped like pretty quick. You're lucky you had two people here. Like, that could have ended very badly for you. So she gets taken out. And then they end up coming back. They hop back into the fence and right back where they got taken away from. Obviously, security comes up, hey, you can't do that. But they were like, no, we're fine. We're back right where we started.
Oh, my God.
She hugs me on the way out. She's like, thank you. And I'm like, take care of yourself, please, lady.
It's so funny, like, how many people in the summer, like, it's really hot, like Oyster Fest on Saturday, like, people just drop.
Yeah.
And then, like 6 minutes later, they're like, all right, can I get a drink? We're like, no, you got to go to the hospital.
Drink some water, my friends. Like,
they like pop right out of it.
Drinks, but like, please don't pass out.
Right?
We don't need no ambulance here. So.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Seriously. Definitely best of luck to you with that.
Thank you. Yeah. I will definitely have some stories.
No, we'll definitely have a follow-up. I'm thinking, I didn't know you were in Vegas, so I'm thinking we could do a show down the road. I have some of the literally funniest Vegas stories. Like better than the Hangover stories. I'm not even lying.
I believe it.
I have some of the. I haven't divulged any of them on this show yet, but I'm sure you have plenty, and we can just go story for story. Yeah. I will not name any names for the sake of them and their married lives.
Yep.
But I really got some incredible stories from Vegas.
Hell yeah.
And some of them do include me. Yeah. That are just pretty fucking, humiliating, but just you're in Vegas, so it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. It's like a cloak.
Exactly. Kori, thanks so much for coming on. Guys, go see Sound of Freedom. Research some of the stuff if you want. I really don't know how to help in this situation outside of maybe donating some money, but I hate that too because you don't really know where it goes. You don't see the...
Unfortunately, no, we don't.
But maybe there's, one of those like, a rescued child that you could send money to or something. I don't know.
I think awareness would just be a good start. But let's do the awareness.
Keep an eye on your own kids. Always know what your kids are doing online is probably the best way to look at it.
Absolutely.
Because there's predators everywhere. And they're sick, they're demented, they're fucked up. And if I had one right in front of me, I'd probably fucking stick a knife in his throat. So just look after the kids. It's all about the kids. Kori, thanks so much.
Good luck with the job.
I will see you. We got the big Oyster Fest Saturday, so... Oh, wait, I'm not dropping the show till after the Oyster Fest, so... There's no Oyster Fest going up this Saturday. Next Saturday. I did a time hop. All right, take care, everybody. I'll talk to you next week.